Those of you who have attended our forum in the past are familiar with Joshua Goldman. Joshua has been a friend of the Office for the Aging for many years. He's been a very popular presenter at our annual Senior Forum for the past 6 years. He adopted a plant-based diet and a lifelong exercise routine at the age of 12 and currently takes no medications and has no limitations. Joshua maintains healthy habits daily, including stretching, yoga, free weights, walking, qigong, tai chi, wood splitting by hand, and living without electricity and running water. Today, he will share tips and insights to help you get better at getting older. A 24-year Tai Chi practitioner, Josh teaches group and private lessons primarily to seniors and welcomes inquiries from anyone who would like more information. Joshua will answer questions at the end of the program if you add them to the Q&A box. I'll turn it over to him now, and I'll mention for those of you who are joining by phone, Joshua's phone number is 585-867-2860. Let's welcome Josh.
Good morning. Thank you for participating in the forum. Have you heard me before? My apologies. You're going to hear the same damn things. But first, a word from our sponsor, the brain. Clever, isn't it? But clueless when it comes to habits. It's good that we don't have to relearn how to drive each morning, but wow, are bad habits hard to break. Your body is always watching you, like the turkey vultures above Lake Salubria. Our bodies are from Africa, when the only reason to get up was to get out and hunt every day. Every day you don't move sends a signal that it's time to decay, to rot, get old. Exercise overrides that signal. Decay, most of functional aging, 70% of what you feel is aging, optional. Bonus, exercise and emotion share the same chemistry. The brain is lazy. It likes not thinking, saves energy. The more consistent a habit, the more successful. No one understands this better than the fast food industry. Tasty, unhealthy, highly processed, rapidly delivered salt, fat, grease, and sugar. Biochemically, the brain responds the exact same way to heroin, cocaine, nicotine, even pictures, thus the pancakes and ice cream on the I-86 billboards. And does anyone else think it's counterproductive that nearly 50% of US hospitals have Ronald, Wendy, or the Burger King on premises? Weird. Stone bridges, so cool. The magic is one critical wedge called the keystone. Not this keystone. The same with the brain on wellness. When older adults habitually exercise, better habits happen. Eating, sleeping, socializing, even reduced credit card use. Helpful if you're an average American with over $8,000 in plastic debt. It takes willpower. Mom and dad were right after all. How do you power willpower? Make it a habit. Creating a new healthy habit requires a minimum of 90 to 120 consecutive days. Unfortunately, creating a bad one can happen almost immediately. The brain is clever, lazy, and modifiable. The addict can go clean. The lazy boy can get off the lazy boy. You can stay there for now. The junk food junkie can quit cold turkey. How? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for asking. It's why we're here. The answer, for goodness sake, move more, eat better. Yogi Berra said, 95% of this game is half mental. But first, let's get physical. Some of us may feel that it's the rusty iron years, not the golden ones. No wonder. The immune system leaks, cells lose integrity, neurological degeneration, most major bodily functions head south, sleep gets interrupted, plus bad to the bone, thin skin, and the devastation of losing loved ones. There is, brothers and sisters, a way to polish iron into gold, fitness and food. There are at least 39 foods that directly benefit blood circulation in the brain. All are, surprise, fruits or vegetables, mostly vegetables. Living long and well, or well and long, demands that we delay, deter, or deny the 4 Ds of aging. Discomfort, disability, drugs, doctors. 4 reasons we age are reversible. Decreased bone density, not if you exercise. Decreased muscle mass, not if you exercise. Increased fat levels, not if you eat plants. Decreased water levels, not if you drink water. And sorry, you'll pee even more than you do now. Hard to believe, isn't it? Alice Walker wrote, "Every small positive change we make in ourselves repays us in confidence in the future." When you make healthy changes, so do your friends. If your social circle eats, drinks, and sits too much, odds are you will too. As we age, the brain shrinks, more so from smoking, obesity, alcohol, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Pregnancy also causes shrinkage, but the clever, lazy, modifiable brain can, will, and does grow lifelong from exercise and whole foods. Do you recall, that seems so long, everything seems so long ago, your 2020 New Year's resolutions? The January 19th Courier Advocate listed them. 9%. Only 9 freaking percent said physical health, 9% spiritual health, 18% didn't bother, 18% financial health, 46% mental health. 100% of gerontology, the study of human aging, ranks exercise and plant diet the most effective, safe, affordable habits. Let's get real. It is delusional to think 350 million Americans will wake tomorrow, work out, eat spinach, and live a passionate, purpose-driven life unless habits help make it happen. What gets in the way? Excess stress, excess weight, excess alcohol, excess inflammation, excess sitting, and way, way too much sugar. Nearly all dementia includes insulin resistance, but even for the 33% pre-diabetic, risk is highly elevated. Don't forget strokes, organ dysfunction, too much TV, too little socializing, and that inheritance gift that keeps on giving. Genetics do not cause disease, but can predispose, especially if you don't exercise and eat smart. Unlike Tioga Downs, you can beat the house. Genes aren't set in stone. They're like light switches. What you do or don't do turns them off or on. Be grateful lifestyle is influential because, like Tioga Downs, the odds are not pretty. I can't really ask you this because you're not really here, but hopefully you're really there. The genetic predisposition for breast cancer, sitting down, ladies, 73%. For both sexes, obesity, 67%, type 2 diabetes, 64%, Alzheimer's and male heart attacks, 62%, females, 57%, most arthritis, 54%, alcohol, abuse or dependence, 50% genetic, 50% lifestyle, very interesting. But look at the other cancers. Lung cancer is only 14%, which means 86%, and don't hang out with smokers. Bizarre but true. Secondhand smoke is as toxic to your DNA as smoking is to the smoker. For those of you putting on your SPF 5000, but skin cancer is only 21%. Stomach and colon cancer, 28 and 35% respectively. Those last two numbers, yeah, you are what you eat. The way to game the DNA casino is exercise. Serious exercise, 6 days a week. Consistent movement is a coded message telling your brain and body not to turn into an old fool, not that word. When most of us listening to this were very small, smoking was normal. Doctors recommended it to pregnant women and appeared in cigarette commercials. Real doctors. Failure to exercise 6 days a week will soon seem as self-destructive as smoking 2 packs a day. You can't sit this one out. Inactivity, being sedentary, linked to all causes of death, an anti-keystone. Senility, not a word you hear much anymore. It's actually a geological term for erosion. Senility is a consequence of inactivity, depression, obesity, smoking, high blood pressure, diabetes, and low education. All modifiable, yet they account for 1/3 of global dementia. A famous study done in 2015 on people with Alzheimer's found that walking and vegetarian diet alone stopped disease progression, previously considered medically impossible. Clinically, researchers refer to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. That's how strong the insulin factor is. The pharmaceutical failure rate, not exaggerating, 99%. Yoga, eliminating dairy, and not eating for 12 hours, say 7:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., are effective therapies. Alzheimer's is what doctors call a life course disease. Pathology can begin decades prior to symptoms, yet even unwell elderly can modify, manage, or prevent it with fitness and food. Within the next 30 years, by or before 2050, 14 to 15 million in this country will have Alzheimer's, the most common dementia. The estimated cost for caring for Americans alive in 2017 who will develop it in the trillions and trillions of dollars. Alzheimer's will exceed our top 2 killers, heart disease and cancer, 7-fold, and without a cure, will bankrupt Medicare. For reasons unknown, they speculate hormones. Right, ladies? Whenever they don't know the answer, they throw out the hormone theory. Alzheimer's is a sexist, chauvinistic, misogynistic disease. Of the 6 million Americans alive with it today, more than 2/3 are women. As a public service, I will tell you your odds. Under 65, chill, 4%. 65 to 74, 16%. 75 to 84, 44%. 85 to 99, there is an asterisk, 37%. Forgive me. God has an odd sense of humor. At 100, your risk for dementia, or really anything, 0%. In fact, if you make it to 104, there is nothing left that can kill you other than your parts wearing out and getting abducted by aliens. The asterisk. A new Alzheimer's-like dementia, just what we needed, has recently been identified, mainly affecting people over 85. Alzheimer's is a 21st century disease, meaning treatment is likely to depend on medical science and good behavior. Medicine may never work, habits already do. Mind-body interventions for cognitive decline, yoga, tai chi, meditation, improve mood, memory, resilience, cognition, inflammation, brain health, vision, and verbal fluency. Being vegan, or very close to it, reduces the risk of Alzheimer's, even for people in their 70s, an astonishing 44%. In scientific medical research, boys and girls, anything over 10% is miraculous. 10% is miraculous. Exercising daily, 37%. Doing both, statistically speaking, 59%, virtually eliminating the genetic predisposition risk. Where are we? Doing both, 59%, virtually eliminating the genetic predisposition risk. Moderate activity, walking, for example, produces the best brain benefits. That pace activates the metabolic zone, turns the light switches on so that the brain and body can heal and grow. Yes, duh, you get fitter with harder exercise, but less strenuous, more prolonged movement enhances overall health. I come across fun, quirky facts researching the forum. Here's an unexpected quote that I like. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Martin Luther King Jr., who knew? The brain you have is the brain you build. Assuming you don't smoke. Don't smoke is always gerontology's first rule. The toolbox has to have three things. Water. The brain is 80% H2O. Exercise 6 days a week. Even a 10-minute walk, especially outdoors, particularly in a park or nature, improves mental performance. Plant food. The more fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, whole grains, the longer, stronger you'll live. Period, full stop, end of story. Dramatically reduces all causes of death, has all the protein you'll need, and better built brains protect you from the #1 cause of disability. Depression, affecting more than 300 million worldwide. Suicide rates in the US have gone up 33%, more than 47,000 fatal ones a year, all tragic, many of them tragically veterans. Exercise benefits require a minimum of only 2.5 hours out of a 168-hour week. Ironically, people over 65 are the least active and most active. Most do squat, while a very few do squats. Sorry, couldn't resist. Seniors, overwhelmingly, for real, more than any other age group, get the biggest bang for the buck from aerobics and strength training. Lifting weights 9 minutes a day, that's all I do, is rewarding. From less flabby upper arms to better blood sugar, which markedly lowers risk of colon cancer. But this is America, right? You can buy a tool to do it for you. These are actual ads from actual catalogs that hopefully none of you are actually silly enough to buy. And don't you love it that the models for these things are always at their ideal body weight? The ultimate fat freezer is a non-invasive system that shapes your body by destroying and dissolving, I know, redundant fat cells. Simply place the fat freezer pads and unit onto problem areas, thigh, waist, back, and bottom, and select a 30 or 60-minute session. The cooling process reduces fat cell temperature to naturally eliminate them from the body. No, it does not include shipping and handling, but it's only $130. I prefer, not to be a snob, the $400 professional fat reduction system. Uses LED lights and optional vibration to reduce body fat. Simply place the adjustable Velcro LED belt and around leg, arm, neck, up to 51 inches and set the timer. The red LED light penetrates the skin, opening the pores of fat cells, allowing fatty acids to burn off easily during exercise. I don't know who writes these things, but I suspect that the sharper image does not hire scientists. Use it or lose it can be put another way. Lose it to use it. I realize this is the Senior Forum, but the American Academy of Pediatrics has lowered the bariatric surgery age limit because of the 5 million kids with clinical obesity. More than 90 million obese, not overweight, obese adults, 45% of the population, including 1 in 10 morbidly obese. You think we're a nanny state? Japan fines people over 40 if they fail to lose weight. New Zealand prohibits them from moving there, although presumably in a few years you can be a tourist again. And Alabama makes all state employees, every state worker, including the governor, pay for their own premiums unless enrolled at employee expense in a smoking, exercise, and or weight reduction program. Sitting in front of a screen 4 hours a day, I'll wait while you do the math, increases heart dysfunction and premature death 50%, wait for it, even if you exercise. 6 or more likely to die from up to at least 14 different diseases, die prematurely. What you do, Sylvia, keep raking those leaves. What you do is not as important as how often and how long. Plan B, adopt a dog. Yes. From the shelter, please. Reduces cardiac dysfunction, stroke, and depression. WALKS count, even if they sniff, every freaking leaf. 83%, my friends, 83% of dog and cat lovers depend on their companion animal for, well, companionship, and are significantly more likely to know their neighbors. Okay, maybe that's not so great. I'm sure all of you out there have been polite. I've been polite. But it's time for the F word. Not that one. Falls. 2017, more than 31,000 instant direct older adult deaths, twice as many as 10 years ago. A senior in this country goes to the ER from a fall every 11 seconds. Incredibly, the average older adult American takes 10 prescription medications a day. Are you on 4 or more? Your fall risk, be careful, is very high. Who thinks, oh, let's just say it, old people get a raw deal? Who thinks, not that we have any this morning, old women have it worse? The moon, thanks to NASA, has over 1,600 named craters. Less than 30 are named after a woman. Check your passport. 13 quotations. 12 by men. You never checked, did you? Women treated for heart attacks by male MDs are less likely to survive than either sex seen by female physicians. Get this, after having a heart attack, I'm sorry, was that too fast? After having a heart attack, a woman has a 50% chance of an incorrect diagnosis, 30% more likely to have stroke symptoms misdiagnosed and erroneously sent home. Diagnosed correctly, less likely to receive the miraculous clot-busting drug. Sadly, perhaps unsurprisingly, women of color receive the worst medical attention. Studies have documented that diseases affecting primarily or exclusively women get much less research money than those affecting men. I'm shocked. This one blows me away. Females are 73% more likely to be killed or maimed in vehicular collisions because crash test dummies are male proportion. Yep, even the kid side. Ladies, don't turn off your computer. I'm not done yet. Besides, it's not all bad. No siree. Your brains, on average, 3 years younger than men's. Some of you are putting that number a little higher, aren't you? Women, it's true, live longer. Duh, read the obituaries. 51% of the population yet account for 57% of people over 65, 68% of those over 85, and 83%, that's 83 out of 100, of people 100 and older. When I'm 108, I'm gonna date, if my girlfriend will let me, a different babe every night, even though I don't really like bingo. Maybe I will by then. Shoot me now. I sincerely hope, all of you, I hope every senior citizen in Steuben County has had decent medical attention, but not, I'm guessing, great health care. How much gold will you need for medical expenses in the golden years if you are, as I am, 67 and retired, $400,000? Half of that will be picked up by 2 socialist schemes called Medicare and Medicaid. Assisted or long-term, out of pocket, baby, and your pocket better have $6,000 a month. Financial stress kills. 34 million Americans have lost a dear one, the 2-legged kind. Maybe the 4-legged too, because healthcare was too damn expensive. 38% do without, 43% struggle with medical debt. The #1 reason for soaring bankruptcy rates for people over 65. In case you're thinking, not me, Josh, I ain't gonna live that long, think again. Women in average health at 65 have a 44% probability, men 33, of being a healthy 90. Still married? A 62% chance at least one of you will be line dancing in your 90s at your great-great-granddaughter's wedding. Barring an actual life-shortening condition, retirement advisors recommend planning your budget and behavior on living to at least 95. What you may not realize, your health insurance is your medical bill. Experts, including prominent physicians, expect expense to be the reason the system collapses. Walter Cronkite, sorry, not to date anyone, America's healthcare system is neither healthy, caring, nor a system. Good night, America. Premiums have gone up 54% since 2010. And get this, each year, more than 500,000 families declare bankruptcy because of medical bills. And 68% of those had insurance. Speaking of, 2019, the insurance industry lobby in our nation's capital spent $120 million fighting against lower drug prices and pre-existing conditions. So you're in good hands. Why is your provider typing on a laptop instead of looking at you? It's called the EMR, electronic medical record. They spend 2 to 3 hours on it for every one with patients. What is the primary purpose of the EMR? Assessing health, reviewing medications, recommending treatments. Its main feature allows the accounting department to code what they do into billable charges. We've all seen this. Other than name and address, not a single syllable in English. A few weeks after my annual 5-minute excess earwax removal procedure, I get a copay with 18 lines of gibberish, code. And with my memory, I don't even remember what it's for. I figured I must have gone for something, so I pay it. The National Institutes of Health, we all know who they are now, don't you? Your federal tax dollars at work. Fund about 300,000 scientists at 2,500 labs investigating 285 diseases. The top 5. Heart affects less than 12% of the population, 1.7 billion. Incredibly, since records have been kept, and surely long before that, from 1923 to right now, heart disease, are you kidding me? Remains our #1 killer. Cancer affects less than 9% of the population, 6.3 billion. And the cure is often worse than the disease. Alzheimer's affects less than 3%. There is an asterisk. 3 billion. Unless you count the millions of unpaid caregivers, 75% of whom are, you'll never guess, a wife or daughter. Obesity affects 70% of the adult population, 35% of children, less than 1 billion. And like heart and dementia, virtually 100% preventable by lifestyle alone. Last but not least, aging affects a low 3.5 billion. But most of that goes to Alzheimer's, even though decades of research and untold billions have made no, as in zero progress. Most pharmaceutical firms and all the big ones quietly gave up years ago. The biology of aging, which disables, not a typo, 93% of people over 50, chump change, $3.5 million. The asterisk. Yeah. If we cured, if you cured, yes, you cured Alzheimer's before the end of this Zoom forum, average American life expectancy would increase by 19 days. If we cured dementia, heart disease, cancer, stroke, high blood pressure, and diabetes, maybe 1 or 2 extra years, because when we fail to do maintenance, parts wear out faster. Speaking of maintenance, non-drug alternatives, exercise, nutrition, walking, yoga, tai chi, even old school mom-approved heating pads work well for back and joint pain. So, why are pills the first response? Well, boys and girls, not a lot of profit prescribing walks and walnuts. National surveys consistently report that more than 80% get significant relief from non-drug measures. God forbid they should use the word exercise and nutrition. This is America, right? Insurance covers clinic visits and overpriced tests, but not wellness or self-care. Promise me, though, everybody, promise me that you will ask about your medications at your very next appointment. Heck, make an appointment for it. More than a third of all seniors say their provider has never reviewed them. If you ask, no, when you ask, 73% of the time, at least one can be dropped. Just how pushy are the pill pushers, the ones in the white coats? I'm sure the ones on Beale Street are pushy too. Last year, not making this up, 71,000 Americans with sprained ankles were prescribed opioids. Wait for it, not an acceptable medical treatment. But profitable? Well, not for the several thousand who became addicted to painkillers and heroin, but for the healthcare industry? Hell yes. Somebody's got to pay for that boat. Almost everyone listening, heck, almost everyone in this country has a total cholesterol north of 200, which is why the government did not use the number researchers gave them. No one with a serum cholesterol of 150 or less has ever had a heart attack. Mine is 147. One of the reasons vegans don't get heart attacks is cholesterol is found only, I'm sorry, you didn't hear me? Only in animal products. Our bodies produce the very tiny amount needed. 1 in every 12 heart deaths worldwide due to too few vegetables in the diet. 1 in 7 from too little, if any, fruit. Studies estimate 75% of adult Americans eat no fruit ever. Fruit, by the way, for Mary Lou, if she's figured out how to do this and listening in, fruit is the Latin word for enjoyment. Do you know your triglycerides? It's not a Disney World attraction. It's a fancy word for too much fat in the blood. Here's how to shock your doc. Don't change a thing. You just stay in that lazy boy, but eat a handful of walnuts every day. I know they're not cheap. Or put them in your cereal each morning like I do and get retested. Mine is so low, they assumed the test was defective. I've been told twice by hematologists that they were told in med school that they would never see a blood panel like mine in real practice. Nuts are the easiest, fastest dietary tweak. You know, not that long ago, the leader of the free world was a peanut farmer. Maybe why Jimmy and Rosalind Carter are still with it. What are they, 200 now? Actually, he is 95 or 96. Another fun, quirky fact, both of them, well into their 80s, were serious Tai Chi students. And you can see it in Rosalind, gorgeous posture. How many, again, excuse me, apologies for the rhetorical question. How many of you are drug addicts? Your Honor, may I rephrase the question? How many of you do coffee? The planet's most popular, accepted, psychoactive drug. You've given it to your children, maybe your grandchildren. Java junkies in America spend more than $200 billion a year to feed their habit. Too much of a good thing may not be too much. In huge population studies all around the globe, over and over, it drives the researchers crazy because there are negative aspects to coffee. Coffee drinkers, not vegetarians, not professional athletes, not Buddhist monks, coffee drinkers, less likely to die for any reason. Studies show that you may reduce the risk of premature death simply by drinking 1 cup a day. More so if you've got the tummy and money for 8 a day. Not that I'm recommending it. Ever wonder why Cinnabon is not in the food court? Their mall contract stipulates being by the entrance, so the smell doesn't compete with the other fried nonsense. And they have hidden fans that blow the aroma out into the hallway. The basic, cheapest bun, 900 not enough? Get more, as most do at Regal Cinema. The big tub of popcorn, 1,000 calories, not counting the supersized cola. I once asked a teenager at the concession stand why he thought the bucket was the best seller. He replied, true story, dude, it's like the only size with a free refill. Speaking of putting crazy, I'm not allowed to swear, crap in your body, Ozzy Osbourne, over a long, successful, heavy metal career, in itself impressive, he cocaine every morning and drank 4 bottles of cognac every day, you heard me, for 5 decades, plus 25 Vicodin a day during his reality TV show. This would literally kill you or I in less than a week with medical attention. When science achieved the miracle of sequencing the human genome, whom did they want to honor as the first? Oprah Winfrey? Brad? Madonna? Dr. Oz? No, Ozzy. In whom was discovered a never before seen or imagined gene mutation that breaks down booze, assists absorption, accelerates addiction, making him 6 times more likely to abuse. I know, not the right word, but don't diss the Blizzard of Oz. All Americans abuse a white substance their entire lives, every day, virtually from birth, despite the obesity, organ failure, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and cavities. Oh, Joshua, come on. How bad can a little sugar be? More than 3 teaspoons a day is toxic. Dude, that's like 1 soda a week. When the researchers told Ozzy about this discovery, Ozzy said to them, the only gene mutation I know is Gene Simmons from Kiss. Where was I? Oh, yes. 75% of all packaged products in the supermarket are, how you say in America, processed. 60% of our diet, the number is rising, is legally classified as ultra highly processed, which is why those 2,500 institutes, including Harvard School of Public Health, often featured in your OFA newsletter, urge you to put the steak knife down, pick up the salad fork. Really easy math. Animals equal high cholesterol, 0 fiber. Plants equal high fiber, 0 cholesterol. What else is there to say other than this? You can get the delicious, meatless Impossible Burger at Bath Burger King, any Burger King. If you're gluten sensitive, get it without the bun. The chain's own national survey found that more than 95% who order it are, surprise, meat eaters. No surprise. Only 2.5% of Americans identify as vegan or vegetarian, 4% of millennials. Although 55% of carnivores say they are trying to eat more plant food. Good for you, and good for you. Chocolate. Oh, now we have your attention. Is the food kingdom's Jekyll and Hyde. Milk chocolate? Sorry, Charlie. Tasty, unhealthy, highly processed, rapid sugar fix. Dark chocolate is dark chocolate. Good for you, and it might even get you high. Okay, that's not totally accurate, but cocoa has the same feel-good chemical compounds as whose sales, ladies and gentlemen, mature audiences, has doubled among older adults, though very, very widely prescribed. And generally very safe, though there's this weird link with suicide of all things. Antidepressants only work 20% of the time. Some therapists recommend dark chocolate, a half an ounce. A half an ounce is 70% will make you 70% less likely to be like bummed out, man. Cocoa comes from a small evergreen tree, whose Greek name means food of the gods or goddesses. It's possible we have more goddesses than gods listening in today? Just a wild guess. I've quoted two famous Americans, without repeating myself, in each of my now 7 forum presentations. Aren't you getting tired of me? I'm not getting tired of doing it. Ben Franklin meant physical activity when he said games lubricate the body and mind. Not that kind of lubrication, not that kind of game, but that physical activity is part of a healthy lifestyle at any age. Anticipating by well over 2.5 centuries the longevity theory of caloric restriction, to lengthen thy life, lessen thy meals. Cutting a mere 300 calories a day, one Panera cookie has 420, improves, rewards, benefits, positively impacts everything in the mind and body over a 2-year period. Oh, that's not going to happen, is it? Okay, stop drinking calories, stop drinking alcohol and soda, stop drinking over-caffeinated energy drinks and fruit juices, including orange juice. Read the labels. Drinking more than 12 ounces of any sugary beverage a day is linked to insanely higher odds of bad triglycerides, bad cholesterol, a deadly combination. And if you cut out 300 calories every day for 365 consecutive days, you lose anywhere from 8 to 16 pounds. Ben Franklin is often portrayed erroneously as pear-shaped, FYI. He lived to be 84. Ladies and gentlemen, you had to be Powerball lucky to make it to 40 in the late 1700s. Mark Twain complained, the only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. As for his preferred beverage, we won't even talk about the cigar. There are, trust me on this, really, really good reasons why maximum, did he say maximum? Alcohol consumption. 2 a day for men under 65, 1 a day for all women and older men. Do you remember Dean Martin? If you drink, don't drive. Don't even putt. That's from my friend John Molson. My friend Patty Barodi asked me to end on an upbeat note. Happy to oblige. In happiness research, it's a thing. There's a finding so consistent, so global, it's been named the U-shape, like a smile. You peak, don't shoot the messenger, in your 20s. But you know how things start to bottom out in your 40s and 50s? Sorry, Nicole, statistically speaking, 47 is your least happy year. A funny thing happens on the way to getting older. You get happier in your 60s. So far, so good. There's a little blip in your 70s. Jim, Mary Lou, don't worry, it'll pass. And you continue as you live to get happier. In fact, research shows that if you live long enough, people rate the happiest year of their life, age 82. You peak again in your 90s, equal to your 20s. Now, in case you've been dozing off the past 30 minutes, no judgment, napping is part of a healthy lifestyle at this age. 50% or more of all illness in the last third of life can be eliminated, not delayed, eliminated by walking in the park and in the produce aisle. You like that? Park, produce? I came up with that. I'm not going to copyright it. I just, sorry, thought it was pretty good. Gerontologists joke, sort of, that the recipe for excellent, yes, it's really called this now, elderhood. Get it? Childhood, adulthood. Good genes, good friends, good luck, and one good kid, preferably a daughter. Married seniors have much lower risk of heart dysfunction and fatal stroke because spouses, hello, wives, encourage healthier habits and smarter medical decisions. There is a tax-funded study, not making this up. The Belly Button Biodiversity Project at North Carolina State University, in case you were wondering where to go to grad school, Shakita, on living beings in your navel, not this navel, your navel. To date, 2,368 distinct species of bacteria, of which 1,458 were previously unknown. What is known, ladies and gentlemen, is how grateful I am, how grateful Patty and the Office for Aging is for your participation in this historic, virtual, novel, get it, novel, first, maybe not last, Zoom forum. In a moment, our tech avatars, thank you, Adrian, thank you, Ben, thank you, Christine, will unmute you and we can take a few questions. Thank you so much for Zooming in today. Ready for questions.
So we're unable to unmute our participants. However, we do have some questions. The first question is, Josh, how many persons do you know who are over 100 years old?
Great question. Personally, I have known a couple. I don't know any right now. My mother's side has extreme longevity. But this question about 100 and old is great because, one, it is the fastest growing demographic percentage of the population, by far. Two, more and more of these very, very old, 100 and old people are what they call super centenarians, meaning they're extraordinarily fit, healthy, and robust. In fact, most people 100 and old are healthy because they've been healthy their whole life. It's no guarantee, but you don't get to be unhealthy and then healthy. I don't know what the statistics are in this county, but I do know it's probably low because statistically speaking, Steuben County is much higher in national averages on chronic disease, obesity, alcoholism, stroke, high blood pressure, etc. Next question.
The next question we have is, what are the 39 foods?
You're kidding. You really expect me to remember that? I had it written down on my original draft. They're mostly vegetables, but the key to remember is if you're eating fruits or vegetables, the more color, the more nutrients, the more antioxidants, the more benefits. So if you think of really colorful fruits like red peppers, those are one. Carrots are one. I guess you could Google it and find out. And that's 39 when I studied it, which was a few months ago. It's probably gone up since then. Next question.
The next question we have is, please tell me about DAMA. D-A-M-A.
I don't know what DAMA is. What's DAMA? D-A-M-A. I'm a Scrabble player and I've never seen that word. Okay, maybe we can do the next question and come back to that.
Sure. So the next question we have is, what is a good resource for one just starting a plant-based diet?
Aside from common sense, there are so many books, DVDs, programs. You can just simply ask your doctor or healthcare provider. You can ask other people who already have these kind of habits. You can commit to small things. It's better to start out small rather than saying, I'm going to eat healthy starting tomorrow. Don't go there. That's the cart before the horse. Say, you know what? I won't have junk food today and I'll take a walk after a healthy lunch. Start out small. But generally, if you remember that physical activity and plant-based diet are the foundations, those are your resources. And fortunately, those are things almost everybody can do. Everyone knows how to walk. Everybody knows how to go to the produce aisle. In fact, this is cliched and I don't think it's entirely true, but you'll hear it a lot when you go to these resources, that if you stay on the perimeter of the supermarket is where the healthier foods are. In the middle are those aforementioned 75% packaged processed foods.
So one last question we have is, should everyone take supplements? I get overwhelmed when I looked at all the choices in the drugstore.
Yeah, okay. I hope the lawyers are standing by. The question is about supplements. Okay, here's the bad news. The bad news is there is virtually none, and I mean like 99.9%, no scientific, medical, empirical evidence that any supplements, with 2 exceptions, have any efficacy. They may not harm, but if you're taking other prescription medications, you may want to be careful with that. Believe me, I wish supplements work. And yes, the soil is depleted and there's environmental toxins and pollutions. On paper, it makes a lot of sense. Also on paper, the supplement industry is a $46 billion unregulated industry, lots of money. The exceptions are if you're vegan like me, B12 is a must, and in certain instances, vitamin D is recommended, but those are pretty limited circumstances. Lots of people take supplements and it doesn't seem to hurt them. There may even be a placebo effect, but the general consensus is save your money. Vitamins, if you have chronic conditions, if you're malnourished, these are situations that generally don't happen in wealthy countries like ours, although there's a lot of hunger. Again, if you're eating a plant-based diet, you don't need the vitamins because that's where the vitamins come from. One last thing on vitamins, taking a vitamin in isolated form, in a synthetic isolated form, is not the same as getting it with other foods and fiber and water and part of a healthy diet. It's just an isolated thing.
So we do have another question that's come in. Please tell me about dextrose, aspartame, fructose, etc., and how they can hurt our system in the way sugars do. Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you, Vince. This is a loaded question. I already know where Vince is coming from on this one. There are many, many different legally FDA-approved names for sugar, 17 at last count. It comes back to what I've been saying. The more natural, the more plant-based, the more real food, whole food, rather than processed or convenient or substitute, the better. The key is to try to eliminate as much sugar as possible. And if you don't think that's hard to do, just start reading labels and you're going to see all these names for sodium, all these names for sugar. These are, again, synthetic and synthesized substitutes for sugar. It's better just to say no, because sugar is a drug. These are various forms. There is one exception I'll mention. Stevia, for people that like to put sugar in their coffee, seems to be a safe, harmless, okay thing to do. Sugar and sitting are the real 4-letter S words here.
So one more question that we had come in was, are there any fruits or vegetables people should avoid for health reasons?
The research says no with an asterisk. The asterisk is there are some people who appear to have a fairly rare sensitivity for what they call nightshade, eggplants, tomatoes, which are very, very healthy. Tomatoes, by the way, have lycopene, which help with memory. So the consensus is eat fruit and vegetables, eat organic if you can get it and if you can afford it. And it's worth the extra dime or so to go organic. But if you can't go organic, again, fruits and vegetables are still preferable to the processed fast food, junk food kind of thing. The only reason people avoid fruits and vegetables, and you know this, everyone knows this, right? What did you hate as a little kid eating? And now you go, oh, Brussels sprouts aren't too bad. But you wouldn't even look at them when you were a kid. Actually, they're still pretty gross, but they're very healthy for you. So I'd say the answer from a medical point of view, and I'm not a doctor, but from a scientific medical research point of view, is the more the better. And let me finish on this note. 5 servings, you'll often hear, of fruits and vegetables a day is actually sort of deceptive. It really should be 10 servings. Because remember, servings are extremely small. How small? Half of 1 cup is considered a serving. So that's like what, 2 strawberries? So you really want to be thinking 10 servings a day. But again, you eat an apple, that's a serving. Have a banana in your cereal, that's already a serving. So it doesn't take much.
So you touched on one of the other questions that have come in. What is your opinion about buying organic versus non-organic produce? But another question that has come in is, what do you recommend for the amount of ounces of water per day to consume?
Good question, because for a long time, the conventional wisdom was what, 1 million bottles? No, what was it? It was 60, what was it? 8 ounce, how many ounce? Remember, it was really popular. You had to drink so many 8-ounce glasses. I want to say 64 ounces, what they were pushing. Well, what they didn't include or clarify in that is that you're getting hydration from your fruits and vegetables. Celery is 96% water. Cucumber is 94% water. Asparagus is 92% water. So you're getting a lot of liquid and hydration from a fruits and vegetable diet. But because a lot of people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, they're pushing the water. You should drink when you feel like drinking, but before you get thirsty. And as you get older, it's a little more important to hydrate, but you don't want to overdo it. Actual overhydration is a problem in nursing homes because they're forcing them to drink more than they should, and they're not being as active. I personally drink seltzer because I'm from New York City, and I get the bubbly stuff. There's no calories, there's no sugar, there's no calories, no sugar, no salt. But water is still the best. And I'm not sure there is such a thing as organic water, but you don't have to buy the expensive, fancy, marketed waters you see on the acres of aisles in the supermarket. You can just drink the very clean tap water that comes out of your faucet.
So the next question just simply says, what about fats? So I'm assuming they want to know a recommended amount of fats per day.
It's not an amount, it's the kind of fats. You don't want trans fats, you don't want partially hydrogenated, you don't want hydrogenated, you don't want polyunsaturated, you want monounsaturated fats. The only two saturated fats that are okay are avocado, and I forget the other one. Virtually, most people get their saturated fats from dairy and meat products. It's the kind of fat. And if you're using oils to cook in, just make it simple. Just use extra virgin olive oil, period. Nice and simple. You don't have to remember anything. Most of the other oils are like the palm oils, coconut oils, vegetable oils are high in the wrong kind of fats. But if you avoid one thing, and now I think they've pretty much cut it out of most products, trans fats, never, ever. And so trans and partially hydrogenated, again, read the labels. They're right there. Avoid them. But you'll get some healthy fats just by eating a plant-based diet.
I don't see any additional questions. Does anybody else have an additional question they'd like to ask Josh?
Well, this has made me thirsty. No one's going to comment on my beautiful new shirt? Can they read it? It says Joshua Goldman, Wellness Ambassador. Patty just gave it to me for the forum. So I feel very official.
We do have another question that just came in. What would you recommend to lower BP?
Blood pressure. I'd say stress protection more than stress reduction. Stress protection, coincidentally, happens to come from daily physical activity, which makes you feel better physically, emotionally, and mentally, and a primarily, if not exclusively, plant-based diet. It's said that we live from crisis to crisis. You know, you fix your relationship and your car breaks down. You fix your car and you have troubles at work. It always seems, it seems to go from one thing to another. So there's always going to be stress. It's how you react to stress that counts. It's not really what's happening. It's what you think of what's happening. So when it comes to blood pressure, which is a major killer, blood pressure is one of those things that creates all these many other problems, stroke, dementia, cognitive heart failure. A lot of them are brought on by high blood pressure. First of all, get it medically determined what your blood pressure is. There are, of course, many medications to lower or raise blood pressure. But you ideally, and you may need them initially, but you really want to get to a non-drug way to do this. So one way to lower blood pressure is simply to breathe believe it or not, to turn off the phone, turn off the distractions, to sit quietly, breathe in slowly, smoothly through the nose. Your lower belly will expand a little bit, just what we always wanted, and exhale fully through the mouth. And believe it or not, that changes many things in your nervous system, your parasympathetic and your automatic nervous systems, just by breathing deeply for a few moments. There is so much information on how to reduce stress and protect yourself from stress. Mind-body exercise, meditation, mindfulness training, biofeedback, if not to date anyone. These are all methods that you can do. And in conjunction with the things I've been talking about are healthy, non-drug dependent ways to lower blood pressure. But lowering blood pressure is, if you have high blood pressure, is, I'd say, job number one, unless you smoke. Quit smoking, that'll lower your blood pressure, and then work on the other things.
So that seems to be the end of our questions.
Thank you very much for the questions. They're great questions, and if they have my phone number and they want to call asking about things like Tai Chi or breath work, I'm happy to respond to everyone.